So did you just get Stellaris, or have a friend of yours buy it for you? Alex. Or are you just wanting to get into Stellaris? Well, have I got a guide for you. Here's the starter's guide for Stellaris. So first things first, this game is very easy to get into. Well, kind of. If you've played any sort of Paradox game before this, then this game's really not that hard, such as Hearts of Iron, Victoria 2, Vicky 3, that kind of thing. If you played those, then you can probably get into this one pretty easily. It is pretty much an easier Hoi 4, in my eyes. And before you ask, well, how much knowledge do you have in this game? You seem like a dumbass. Well, I have 1,000 hours in this game. Now, first off, what I'm going to start talking about is DLCs, and the DLCs that I think you should buy. First off, Apocalypse. Second, Utopia. Third, Federations. Now, what do I feel like playing? First off, Apocalypse adds a whole new ship, the Titan. Also adds Colossuses, which can destroy planets and stuff like that. It is overall my personal favorite one. Utopias allows you to build megastructures. Megastructures are things that you can build in space that help your empire exponentially. And finally, Federations, which makes galactic communication a little bit more interesting. Building Federations is more interesting, and the Galactic Council as a whole is a lot more interesting when you have the Federations DLC, and can really affect your gameplay. Now, we're going to get into the actual game. First off, I'm going to start talking about ethics, traits, origins, and that kind of thing. First off, I'm going to just straight off the bat and say, don't take this trait. This trait is useless. Don't take it. You can get it with tech. Most of these traits, except for intelligent, adaptive, rapid breeders, traditional, and charismatic, are all pretty mid. Some of these, depending on what DLCs you have, can be good, but I don't have much experience with them because I never use them. Now, bad traits that you should never take will be slow breeders, non-adaptive, weak, repugnant. Oh, that might be it. Next up, we're going to talk about home classes. Home classes is just a starter planet, and this means that whatever your starter planet means is your preferred habitable world. The world is a continental world. That means I will prefer continental worlds. But if there is like a, let's say, ocean world, I can live on that planet because it's still technically a wet world. However, I will struggle on a planet that is like a desert world or an Arctic world, and so on and so forth. Origins. The origin that I really recommend players start off with is Prosperous Unification. Most of these are just kind of RP kind of things, but I would recommend people start off with Prosperous Unification. It's a really good boon to your starter economy, and you'll eventually be able to run wild with it in the mid-game. Government ethics. I usually stick around with Militarist. It really cuts your claim influence cost by a lot, and your ship fire rate is increased by 10%. That's pretty good. And if you increase this up to Fanatic Militarist and you get the trait Distinguished Admiralty, this will increase your ship fire rate by 30%. That basically means that your ships fire more often than they usually do. Usually also run authoritarian. It gives you more influence. The only way that you can really get influence in this game is by having rivalries. So having a monthly influence of 1 or 50, or 0.50 I mean, can really help you out throughout the entire game, because influence allows you to claim systems, and it also allows you to build outposts in systems that you've researched. We'll get into that later. Xenophile just means you have a better trust with aliens, and is mainly just for RP. Don't do it. As pacifist, really, it just kind of restricts you in a way. Just kind of puts you in a state to where you're just kind of sitting and doing nothing. Depending on how you play, if you manage to cheese a system, then you can make a pacifist run extremely fun. Materialist, I usually run Materialist because of that robot upkeep and that research speed. I rarely ever go up to Fanatic Materialist, but that's just me. Now Civics I usually go with. Diplomatic Corps late game because this gives me 2 available envoys and increases my diplomatic weight. I usually go with that one late game. Masterful Crafters under the Humanoid DLC, but I usually run this one. I really enjoy Masterful Crafters. It's a lot of fun to use. Mining Guilds, don't do it. National Zell, pretty good. Parliamentary System, don't do it. Pleasure Seekers, really good one. I'm going to go with that one. Shadow Council, don't do that one. Shared Burdens, do that one if you want to be a communist. Warrior culture, it looks cool, but really it's not that interesting. I used to do it as an RP run. I wouldn't recommend you do it now. Environmentalist, don't do it. It's kind of useless. Fission bureaucracy, it used to be good. I don't know if it's that good anymore. Cutthroat politics, don't do it. Byzantine bureaucracy, maybe. Get of liberty, do this if you want to be a democratic nation. Rulers, it's okay. I mean, I think it'd work. And the rest of these, don't do this one. Don't do this one. Don't do this one. Yeah, don't do that one. This one, do this one if you want to get a bunch of free pops from war. Do that one. Corvée system. I probably wouldn't. Exalted priesthood. Do that one if you want RP. Fanatic purifist. Do this one if you want to be very OP, but have everybody hate you. It's very strong. Wouldn't recommend to go for it if it's your first game, but it kicks ass. Heidi, do this one if you want to RP. Freehaven, same thing as just, you know, if you want to be Xenophile and Republic, then do that one. Recult, that's actually pretty nice, but it means you have to be some degree authoritarian, spiritualist, and it's kind of, I don't know, kind of a waste of a civic for the start game. And it really wouldn't be useful late game because you could just get edict funds from research. I wouldn't recommend that one. Or perfection, it's okay. It just means that you're not going to be doing a lot of stuff. You're just going to be sitting and, you know, doing stuff in your empire. I'll do this one. You could do this one. As Puritists, I wouldn't recommend this one. I would just do the diplomatic corps instead. Slaver guilds, I don't know. Depends on how many slaves you have. The last one is technocracy. I really enjoy this one. It's pretty good. It gives you a lot more research and allows you to tech rush pretty easily. I enjoy it. Now, there's a brand new galaxy setup that I'm a really big fan of, and that is the Starburst Galaxy. And I usually play around large. If it's your first game, I would honestly recommend you play large or medium, just so you can get a feel with the game. I would probably only have 2 Fallen Empires, maybe no Marauder Empires, but it's entirely up to you. Crisis strength and crisis type. Think of the crisis as basically the final boss of the game. Contingency, Unbidden, and Pythorian Scourge are all the crisis types that you will have to fight. They'll usually come up around the in-game start year, and for sure on the victory year. I would recommend the victory year to be 2500. In-game start year, probably around 2450. Gives you a little bit of time to get strong and prepare. Culty, Ensign is medium. Cadet is easy. Civilian is very easy. And Captain is hard. Commodore is very hard. Admiral is, let's say, extreme. And Grand Admiral is very extreme. I really wish they just said hard, medium, that kind of thing, but you know, it's a space game. What do you expect? I would set AI aggressiveness normal, empire placement random, advanced neighbors, have that off for sure. Oh, and also have advanced AI starts, make sure that's off, never have that on. And all this can be just normal. I would really recommend that you don't have Xeno compatibility on, mainly because it makes your late game absolutely hellish. And it's also just kind of cringe, dude. Just watch some furry porn. It's okay. Alright, that's basically it for that. I'm going to change empires because this is not the empire that I really want to play with. I'm going to play the Kaiser Federation. Here are my traits. I have the aquatic trait. This means you have to have the aquatic species pack. I have masterful characters, which means you're going to have well, you're going to have the humanoids DLC. I don't see it over here, which is just strange. Oh, wow, I'm stupid. Also have technocracy. This allows me to tech rush. Here are my civics. Xenophobe, militarist. Unruly is a throwaway trait. And for some reason, they kind of hindered the organic tech rush, only allowing you to have 2 positive traits and only 1 negative trait. So what I used to have is this, and I think it was decadence, deviance, I think, and then I would have intelligent, which was so good. It is such a great trait, and I recommend that you get this trait mid to late game whenever you start getting cybernetics and stuff like that. Anyway, moving on. I decided to do for this part of the video is I decided to record about 20 years worth of gameplay and go into depth about as much as I could. Kind of changed my mind on that because the amount of video footage that I had was about an hour and 10 minutes. So what I decided to do instead was just record my progress, and then at the end of the 20 years is when I talk about what you should do and the things that you should do to get to where I am in the game. I'm sorry I didn't go into a great in-depth analysis of all the things. Try to keep this video below 20 minutes at a friend's request. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, just let me know in the comments and I will do a better analysis on that. Anyway, talk to you all later. See ya. Alright, so it's the first 20 years of the game, and I'm going to briefly go over just about everything that I can. First off, I'm going to start off about the economy. First off, you get energy credits from having generator districts. You get minerals from mining districts, food from agricultural districts, consumer goods from industrial districts, and alloys from industrial districts as well. Unless you have a forge world that only produced alloys, or a factory world that only produces consumer goods. You can also get energy credits from claiming territory that has energy credits in the system, and by building an outpost and mining stations. Outposts require influence and alloys to build. You can only gain influence from having rivals and power projection. So you want to have as many rivalries as you can and as few diplomatic actions with aliens as possible because they drag your influence down. Next, I'm going to talk about the technology that I feel that you should research first. You should always go for quantum theory, biodiversity studies, and mechanics as soon as you get into the game. Next, I also recommend that you go for powered exoskeletons and robotic workers, and always go for research speed bonuses. Now I'm going to talk about all of the tabs over here on the left side of the screen. First off, Context shows all the alien contacts that you've made over the game and shows all the alien empires in the galaxy. The Situation Log shows all available things to do in your empire, and Anomalies show all the anomalies inside of your empire, and Victory just shows who's most likely to win the game by the end of the game. The Market allows you to buy and sell things. You can do monthly trade by simply clicking monthly trade, clicking buy, clicking a material, and then clicking add edit. And you will now get 10 minerals a month at the cost of an indiscriminate amount of energy credits a month. Just keep in mind that does affect the actual worth of what you're buying per month. Planets and sectors just shows your planets inside of your sectors. I rarely touch this, don't worry about it. Expansion planner just shows the planets that you've studied and surveyed. Policies shows you all the policies that your empire has and allows. Change them, but you cannot change them again for 10 years. Edicts allowed you to make bonuses at the cost of unity, have a certain amount of edicts fund, and you can expand this by executive figure, which adds a 100% edict fund, and by getting research like adaptive bureaucracy. If you go over your edicts fund, it starts to take a massive toll on your unity until you have no unity left. Going over into the traditions tab, we have the ability to unlock traditions. Traditions are basically bonuses that your society gets after getting a certain amount of unity. So you want to get as much unity as physically possible. So the one that I usually go for first is prosperity. You get a resources plus 5% from all jobs, and you get a 20% plus to all your mining stations, which is pretty good. Next, I usually go for discovery, or if I absolutely have to, I go for the supremacy tradition path, which you cannot see because I can't unlock another tradition right now. Ship designer tab, which allows you to add stuff to your ships, ranging from corvette all the way to battleship. Manager allows you to add and subtract ships from a fleet, and allows you to easily build a new fleet just like this. It's extremely easy and is a very nice feature in the game. Here's the technology tab. This is where you research a lot of items in the game. The faction tab shows factions inside of your empire. Don't worry about this too much. It really doesn't matter that much. You can go the entire game without touching it. Claims allows you to claim enemy territory or alien territory that you want to eventually have in your empire. The species tab just shows the aliens inside of your empire. And finally, the leaders tab just shows the leaders inside of your empire. You could go on and on about the things in this game, like megastructures and enclaves, but really just don't have that amount of time. So the last thing that I'm going to recommend to you is, on your homeworld, build a lot of research labs. And for your first and second colonies that you are guaranteed, if you have guaranteed habitable worlds on, you firstly build a forge world, and second, build a factory world. This allows you to have a good amount of consumer goods and alloys. I'm just not managing my planets that well right now. I'm kind of lazy. Sadly, I couldn't go into depth on First Contact because I haven't met an alien yet. And yes, there are aliens in this game. Did not make this just 1v nothing. There are aliens out there somewhere. I just have not met them yet, sadly. So anyway, if you want me to go further in depth into this game with no restriction on time, I would absolutely love to. And I would also love to use this empire again, but that is entirely up to you. If you have any questions, like I said earlier in the video, just ask, and I will respond as soon as I can. That is it. I hope everything I said in this video helped you to some degree. So yeah, that's everything. See ya.